Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the deep dive for the Shadow of Alterra. Today, we break down episode 2 and 3 and really dig into those lingering questions. And as always, thank you for watching.
Welcome to the deep dive. You're back with us, and that tells us you're just as captivated as we are by the unfolding narrative of the Shadow of Alterra.
It's great to be diving back in.
We know many of you are looking beyond those initial mysteries surrounding Delilah and Jessara, wanting to understand the bigger picture.
Absolutely. We've been listening to your feedback, and the questions around episodes 2 and 3 keep coming up. Lots of curiosity there.
Right. So for this session, we're going to thoroughly explore those pivotal moments.
Drawing on our understanding of the overall story, but, without giving away specific sources.
Exactly. Our aim is to really dissect the key developments, pinpoint the unresolved questions that are driving things forward.
And start to see how these early threads, these little hints, are beginning to connect in some really fascinating ways.
Okay, so The Bloom and the Banishment, episode 2. It really throws us headfirst into Jessara, doesn't it?
It does. You've got this seemingly perfect oasis city. The sacred spring is everything to it.
It's lifeblood, yeah. And Delilah is positioned as this guardian figure capable of making the desert bloom. Amazing power.
But right away, there's this undercurrent, attention.
What's immediately striking is how her power, this very thing that sustains Jessara, is viewed with such suspicion by the Council of Elders.
Yeah, it really highlights that classic conflict, doesn't it? Established power versus, something extraordinary they can't quite control.
Is it a gift or a threat? They seem unsure.
Or maybe both. We see her using her magic, these vibrant blooms appearing, and at first, people are celebrating.
But almost immediately you feel something's off, even for Delilah.
Right. Her connection to the magic, it feels strained, maybe less reliable than before.
You start wondering about the source itself, the spring. Is it stable?
And this personal struggle for Delilah mirrors what's happening outside the city center. The farmers' fields are failing.
Such a stark contrast to the abundance inside Jessara, all thanks to the spring.
It's a powerful visual of imbalance, really. And so naturally, who do they turn to?
Delilah, the guardian, they need her help.
Which brings us to that really critical moment at the spring. She promises to help, she interacts with it, and then, things take a dark turn.
That vision she has, Jessara destroyed, is terrifying. What do you make of that? Is it a warning, a premonition, or something else?
Well, it certainly acts as a catalyst. The spring's power surges, but it's not controlled, not life-giving like before.
No, it's chaos.
Yeah.
Right there in the city's own gardens.
What was meant to help the struggling farmers becomes this destructive force inside Jessara itself. It's a potent reminder, isn't it? Even good intentions, good power can go wrong.
It's unsettling watching the citizens react. That initial awe just melts away, replaced by unease, doubt.
You see the seed planted, and for Delilah, you can feel her internal conflict just ramping up. She's grappling with this destructive potential within her own power.
Maybe starting to think the council's worries weren't entirely baseless.
It definitely sets the stage for the council's reaction, and we see these distinct perspectives emerging among the elders.
Yeah, Elder Namor, he's so cautious. He mentions day one. What was that? It's just some major past trauma in Jessara.
Something that makes him deeply wary of unchecked power, clearly. He's the voice of caution, maybe even fear of repeating mistakes.
Then you got Kale. He's almost Delilah's advocate, isn't he? Focusing on the hope, the renewal she represents.
Willing to accept the risks, it seems. Holding on to hope even with the chaos they just saw.
And Senra adds this crucial wider view. She's looking beyond Jessara.
Right. She mentions whispers from Pelagay, these oceanic disturbances. It hints that Jessara's problems might just be one symptom of a much bigger crisis.
Makes you wonder how it all connects. Are these isolated incidents, or?
We also get those brief comments from Rashira worried about the heart's influence, magical instability.
And Haren. His perspective is fascinating. He reframes Delilah not as the cause, but maybe a sign, a question mark posed by a changing world.
Or maybe even pointing towards a bigger threat they haven't even seen yet.
These different views really show the complexity they're dealing with. How do you lead in times like this? Tradition versus change.
The decision to summon Delilah feels inevitable after that discussion. It sets up this major confrontation.
Absolutely. She arrives, and there's a defiance there. She knows what's coming.
The accusations fly. Straining the spring, wielding power recklessly, causing imbalance. It's like a trial.
In her defense, it's all about her intent to save the people. Her belief the spring wanted to give its power.
But you can feel that gap widening between her and the council. Kale's support seems fragile.
While Amar's distrust is just, well, palpable. It's a breakdown of trust, really tragic.
The council's first decision confinement, cutting her off from the spring, feels like they're stalling, maybe.
But you sense the final judgment is coming. And all this time, Delilah's haunted by that vision of destruction. How much is that guiding her?
Even with her warnings, her pleas about what might happen if she's gone, the council delivers the verdict. Banishment.
It's such a dramatic moment. The whole city just silent, stunned.
What does that silence mean? Agreement, fear, total confusion.
That image of her leaving Jazara is so powerful. The mix of emotions you see on people's faces, loss, maybe fear of what they've done.
And that small gift from the child, a single flower, just a little symbol of that connection, despite everything.
Then she steps into the Zarathan desert, her future, a complete unknown.
And that stark contrast is where episode 3, A Mirror in the Waste, kicks off. The setting shift is immediate, harsh desert. Months have passed.
And we meet Kaikoa, the Pelagian diplomat. He's arriving late with an urgent message for Jazara. Why late? What's the message?
His introduction to the desert is really interesting, that encounter with the Zarathan wanderer.
Yeah, who guides him towards Delilah with this cryptic talk about her perception having changed. It immediately tells you the desert isn't just sand and rock.
It's transformative. What does that even mean, her perception changed?
It shows how deeply the Zarathans understand their environment, maybe. Its subtle power, Kaikoa coming from the sea. It's a different world for him.
His arrival at the Zarathan camp really underscores that. Their cautious reception, calling him Drankesh.
An outsider. It suggests they're self-reliant, maybe wary from past experiences.
It's like the desert is this forge, shaping people differently, and Kaikoa's search for Delilah there, it's met with these veiled responses.
Like they're protecting her. Or protecting something about her.
Feels that way, until the older Zarathan man finally leads him to her tent.
And the description inside, quiet. Smells of old incense, salt. It sounds like a place of deep reflection, transformation.
What's she been doing in there? What kind of rituals or thoughts?
The reunion itself. Kaikoa and Delilah, it's heavy with unspoken stuff. Her appearance is different. That unbound red hair is a strong visual.
Definitely a signal of change. There's this weight in the silence, and her words are so measured now. This isn't the same Delilah from Jazara.
And Kaikoa's purpose becomes clearer. He's worried about the drowned, stirring this unease back in Pelagi. He hoped Jazara held answers, trustworthy memories.
But Delilah questions him, his motives, where he comes from. She's more wary now, skeptical, learned cynicism, maybe.
That line she has about the desert not lying, but not revealing everything, contrasted with Kaikoa trusting the tide, which is clearer but also forceful.
It's a great metaphor for their different ways of seeing the world, finding truth. Patience versus force.
And Delilah's own view of how the Zarathans see her forged in the desert versus her own memories of something darker, more primal from that vision.
Right, the cavern. Her comment about survival being necessary, not noble. That speaks volumes about what she's endured, the pragmatism she's found.
You sense a shift in their dynamic too. Kaikoa, the diplomat, is suddenly the supplicant, carrying this story he doesn't even want.
And then those little hints of Delilah's power resurfacing, but maybe differently. The restless vines in the tent.
A sign of something growing inside her, which leads right to that shard.
It's like a mysterious shard. She feels this deep connection and it triggers the flashback. We see her right after the banishment alone, vulnerable, angry about the injustice.
And then the figure on the dune appears, cloaked, shadowy, radiating this presence.
Yeah, definitely feels significant, otherworldly. And the voice she hears, not with her ears, but like in her bones.
Offering a whole different take on balance, on Jazara's fear. It completely reframes her exile.
This figure, who we're guessing is Ashura, offers her purpose. An end to exile. A way to mend Alterra itself.
And what's striking is Delilah's reaction. No doubt. Just this low hum inside her as she follows down into that cavern.
Total acceptance, like this was always meant to happen.
The imagery in there, ancient, the glowing lichen, that mural, the golden sun, but figures recoiling from it.
It totally flips Jazara's script about light being purely good, suggests a much more complex reality.
And then she sees the painting. The figure in red, the crimson vines. Recognition.
The shard emerges from the wall when she touches it, growing like an ember. It feels faded.
And the transformation, that surge of light inside her, the pain, and then the crimson tendrils emerging, it's visceral, powerful.
And Ashara's words, Delilah isn't broken, she's made to hold the shape of what was lost. Not the wound itself, but where it closes.
Wow. Cryptic, but hugely significant. What does that mean for her purpose? And it happens just as that cataclysm hits above ground, the fissure, the tendrils erupting.
The two events are linked. Her transformation below, destruction and change above. It's world-altering.
The flashback ends with Ashara speaking through Delilah, planning remembrance. Then we snap back to the present.
And the atmosphere in the tent is completely different. Charged. Delilah steps out and there's this intensity about her.
And the Zarathan's reaction, immediate, profound. The kneeling men, the standing women, this recognition of something ancient, something powerful.
Yeah, but what kind of power? And what does this reverence truly mean? Is it freely given? Or is it another cage, just a different kind?
That quiet talk she has with Kaikoa at the edge of the camp is so revealing.
Talking about reverence versus really belonging. The cages of Jasara, but also the cage of myth, maybe?
She sees her exile as a release now. Says she intends to build something new. She has agency.
And that moment when Kaikoa wonders if she misses the water, her reply is so poignant, missing who she was in it, but it doesn't call to her anymore.
Underscores how deep the change is. She declares their paths diverge. She's committed to this new reality.
Then Kaikoa gets back to Jasara, and the contrast is stark. The stillness, the order, it feels almost stifling after the desert.
And Elder Senra's waiting. Her pointed questions about his delay. You just know his message isn't going to get an easy reception.
Especially now. Whatever he learned, Jasara might not be ready or willing to hear it.
And in parallel, we see Delilah heading back towards Jasara too, with the Zorro. Deliberately. With purpose.
I feel like a collision course is set, doesn't it? The episode ends with this huge sense of anticipation. Delilah changed. Kaikoa facing a skeptical audience.
So looking back at these two episodes, it's a massive arc. Delilah's exile, her transformation in the desert.
And Kaikoa acting as this connective tissue between these worlds, revealing wider unrest, hinting at bigger conflicts brewing.
And they leave us with so many critical questions. I mean, what is the real nature of Delilah's bond with that shard, with Ashara?
And the drowned stirring in Pelagi, what does that mean for them, for Alterra as a whole?
How will Jasara react to Kaikoa's message, given everything that's happened?
And the biggest question, maybe, why is Delilah going back? Revenge, reconciliation, something else entirely. What has she actually become?
Plus those external threats Senra mentioned, the whispers, the sea disturbances. How do they fit into all this?
And the Zarathan's reverence. Is it empowering for Delilah, or is it just another form of expectation, another role she has to play?
These episodes really dig into power, exile, transformation, belonging, fundamental stuff, set against this backdrop of ancient mysteries and growing danger.
And this is really just scratching the surface, isn't it? So much more to unpack.
Definitely. We'll keep digging into these questions in future discussions. Thanks for joining us today on The Deep Dive as we continue to unravel the Shadow of Alterra.